Welcome to my first official episode one. Yes, welcome to my channel. I am Sloan Reale, an expert voice and confidence coach. And I absolutely love the intro coming in here. I never get tired of hearing that. Gets me all excited and amped up. And this is what we're going to be doing, all things voice. This is a kickoff for what is to come. And before we jump into today's topic episode, today is officially a welcome episode, but I want to leave you with some value, some information that you can take away as soon as you turn this off from wherever you're watching or listening, whether it's on the podcast, audio, YouTube, wherever you're catching this. I want you to be able to leave when you're done here and go apply at least one of 10 proven voice coaching techniques to boost your confidence. So, a little bit about me. First of all, thank you if you have found me. If you are new to me, I know I want to also thank all of the people who have supported in getting me here. A lot of suggestions for a few years now, moving me in this direction, and I've just been like, oh no, another thing I gotta go learn and deal with. But thank goodness for a good team, people that can do this in their sleep. So very grateful. Shout out to all of you who are doing the final edits and getting this all out to the world for me. I appreciate you very much. So yes, I'm Sloan Reale, and just a little background on me if you're new. I began teaching voice primarily to singers about 23 years ago. It's when I opened my practice. And it was just teaching people how to sing. And a little side note, very not altruistic at all. I had a little band going, and it was a way for me to pay for I've shared this with clients frequently. This was a way for me to earn money to pay for my hair, my makeup, my outfits, and all of that fun stuff. And what began to happen, not quite right away, but within about the first 5 years of me teaching voice, interesting things started to show up. I started having clients come in with physical ailments and things going on with their voice. I hadn't seen a lot of vocal fatigue yet, but I was seeing things, for example, uh, recovering stroke victims that needed help restoring their speech. I started receiving referrals from ear, nose, and throat doctors for things such as vocal cord dysfunction, which mimics asthma. It's essentially where you go to inhale to speak or say something, and everything gets stuck and you can't get any sound out, which can be very scary. I began to see things where a lot of physical things, anesthesiologists or issues where the anesthesiology tube rubbed up against or somehow caused an abrasion on the vocal cords themselves. So I wasn't really paying too much attention to what was coming through. I was still just doing my thing, and it really was for singing for many, many years, just teaching people how to sing, which really came down to helping people find confidence around their voice to be able to sing. Well, in the last decade, one of the reasons that I'm putting this information out at the level that I am now is one of the things that actually is breaking my heart is I'm seeing way too many women, girls are getting younger and younger. I've had them, as young as an 8-year-old who cannot put into words why she doesn't feel comfortable running around on the playground and singing and playing like she would at home on her own without people there listening. A lot of adult professional women not feeling heard, not feeling seen in the workplace, not getting the raise or the promotion that they are completely qualified for. Somebody else coming along who has less experience than them being promoted to a position that they wanted. So I'm seeing a lot more of this not feeling valued, not feeling heard, not feeling seen. And I guess the reason I'm so passionate about this was my story. Growing up in a home, there wasn't a lot of, well, I was that person. My voice was not valued. I was not ever asked my opinion or what I thought or what I would want. I was always told how it was going to be. and my personality. And as I get to know myself more through many types of therapies and activities, I do a lot. And we're going to be diving into some of this down the road. But as I've gotten to know myself better and understand the way I'm wired, now when I look back at my childhood and my young adult years, I it all makes sense. Everything came together and it all adds up, and it's like, of course, I'm going to get some slack and I'm going to rub people the wrong way. And what has happened at this point in my life with this work that I have done and the work I do around the voice is I've reached that point where it really doesn't matter. The only thing that matters to me right now is truly getting this information out on as many platforms as possible, in as many people's hands, in your ears, into your heart, that if you are one of those people, if you struggle with just speaking up, just making your voice heard, forget about being seen. We're not even going to talk about that yet. But you really, and every day that goes by that you are not feeling heard, that you're not feeling honored, that you're not feeling valued, every day that goes by, a piece of you is going to shrivel up and die. And there's no reason for it. And I'm here to share with you there are tools and there are tips and tricks, and today you're going to leave with 10 solid things that you can go and use immediately to help break out of these old patterns and beliefs. So I've really skimmed over this very quickly, not a lot of details, but I am in the coming weeks. I'm going to be addressing every aspect of the voice, from physical things that we do with our voice, whether conscious or unconsciously, things that we're doing with our voice that might be causing us to get passed over for the promotion or the raise. I'm going to address the psychological component, those things that old patterns and beliefs, whether real or our perception, a perception of what we thought was real. We're going to turn all of that upside down. I'm going to be continue to give you valuable information that you can try on for yourself. Just a shout out, I will have all of this in the show notes, but the website and the YouTube channel are filled with tons. I mean, you literally could go binge watch what is already out there, for 2-3 hours. Free fun. That's a real key in how I work with people, is we've got to be having a good time. There is some challenging, there'll be some challenging things that I do with clients, and I might do here with y'all in the show, give you some opportunities to try some things on. But once you make that breakthrough, once you start connecting those dots, the freedom on the other side is it's off the charts. I've never felt so happy, so fulfilled. The only thing that would make me happier is more people truly stepping into their voice and their power. And one of the things that I'll be showing you how to do is giving you tools for how to engage in conversations, how to express yourself fully. We're going to be having a lot of fun. One thing that I wanted to share as well, in addition to the website, Vocal Coaching by Sloan, the YouTube, is if you are a woman listening or watching, please head over to the Find Your Voice, Rock Your Confidence Facebook group. You will have access to things that are exclusive to that group, trainings. I've got all kinds of fun things. I've got a little quiz I'm going to be popping in there. Super fun to kind of gauge yourself where you are with your voice. So without further ado, let's jump into, for today, 10 proven vocal coaching techniques that you can use right away. Now, the first thing is breath. And I can't say enough of that. And if you go poking around into all of my content and information out there, you are going to see a lot on breath. And it's probably, people are probably sick of hearing about breath. There's all kinds of things around breath. There's videos and resources. And the first thing with breath for your voice is there's a lot of people breathing incorrectly. So, one of the things that I will be diving into probably on a separate episode solely dedicated to breathing, where I will bring you probably 10 proven breathing techniques for your voice to help you get dialed in and use your voice effectively. So, the first thing, just a quick tip, a little test. Let's do a little thing here together. Right now, just do a body scan of wherever you're at, whether you're at home, in the car, at work, wherever you are listening or watching this right now. And I want you to, where are your shoulders? If your shoulders are up by your ears, you are cutting off circulation. You're creating tension in your neck and in your back. And just start with by taking a nice deep breath into the belly. You can even bring those shoulders all the way up to your ears as high as you can, creating tension intentionally. Create tension in your back, your neck, your chest, and then let that out with an exhale. And release all of that tension. So the first thing to pay attention is are you even breathing correctly? And if your ears and shoulders are up there touching and you're carrying all kinds of stress in your back, it's very likely you are shallow breathing and there is no oxygen getting past your rib cage, past your lungs, down into that solar plexus diaphragmatic area. So, breath, a lot on breath. Vocal exercises for days, binders full. I will be sharing exercises with you throughout these. Again, these are loaded all over the place in some other content, but I'm going to be bringing things specific to this show weekly for you. The use of inflection, how you use your voice. Number three, this would have to do with the tempo or the pace or the melody actually in your voice. Inflection has more to do with instead of speaking like this, and we know where this goes with everybody, adding some color, adding some variety, adding the power of the pause or space to your voice. Power of the pause, very effective strategy for using your voice, especially if you are presenting on stages. I know one of the things that can happen is that we get nervous. The first thing to happen when we're nervous is we disconnect from where all that breath is coming from. Everything slips up into the chest, into the shoulders, and now we're all up here in a tight little tense stressed ball. So a big key to all of this, not mentioned, but kind of assumed, is relaxation. The more relaxed that you can get before you need to use your voice, whether having to have a difficult conversation or step into a meeting or do a presentation in front of a group of people, even on Zoom. I know that Zoom causes great anxiety for many people. So the greatest thing that you can do is get yourself in a relaxed state before you push play or record or get on that stage. So that's number three, using inflection. Number four has to do with your tempo, the speed, speaking slowly and clearly. Fascinating thing around tempo. I think more frequently we are faced with people that want to speak really fast. And I've seen this show up in a couple of different ways. Well, one, in my own household. Oh gosh, my kids, bless them. 3 different personalities, 3 different ways of using their voice. I have one who has from birth been out there and knows what he's here to do and has no problem showing up fully, embracing his dharma, living the life that he was created to live. I have another one who's like this, very extremely painfully shy, a lot of mumbling as far as, and I find myself frequently, what? Can you repeat that again? What did you just say? And then I've got another who's the complete opposite of that, who speaks so fast. Same thing. I cannot understand. And this doesn't just show up, in our families, it shows up in our friendships, our relationships, in the workplace. If you are speaking too slow, if you are speaking too fast, if you are mumbling, and you would know if this is affecting you. Pay attention to feedback that you're getting. If you find you're frequently being asked to speak up or repeat yourself, that is information for you. That is feedback for you to make a note and dig into that a little deeper, because this would also affect promotions, reviews, special projects, right? Part of the thing if you're employed or if you are an entrepreneur, woman entrepreneur yourself, and wanting to expand your services and get on other forums or other people's stuff that got going on as a guest, is you want to pay attention. Do any of these things apply to you? And feedback is such a great resource. I think that's one of my 10 tips I'm going to come back to. So pay attention to the tempo or the speed at which you are speaking. Emphasizing your strengths. This is a great one. We all have unique gifts and talents. And I I know that even with myself, there are times where I wouldn't say intentionally I was playing small, but in a new group of people, or I don't really know the vibe yet. I'm trying to feel it out. What is what's appropriate for me to share and say, and what kind of tone, can I be all out, or do I need to not so much withhold, but maybe temper? I know that I have been known to get very excited, and if I'm super excited, and I remember there was a time in my life a while ago, dropping the F bomb, right? Profanity used to really offend me. And it was more like young adults, teenagers and kids doing this. Well, as I have evolved, I've been known to drop a couple of bombs myself once in a while, but not in a negative way, not in a complaining way, more of in a way of, yeah, this is awesome. Let's go do this thing. And I think it's also because it's more of a cultural thing, the words that we use, how we speak. Now, I certainly wouldn't go doing that, in church, in the middle of a pastor's sermon or something like that. That would not be appropriate. So, using your natural gifts and talents and not being ashamed or afraid to use them, but paying attention to the audience who you're hanging out with. And this has been a game changer for me. As I mentioned earlier, I was always pretty outgoing. I've always been kind of a cheerleader type. I'm one to rally the troops and let's go do this. There are times where that hasn't been the best thing, where I really needed to wait and be invited. This is another thing I've learned about myself very recently. I need to wait for the invitation. And invitations come in many shapes and forms and a variety of ways. They're not necessarily a handwritten, stamped invitation I get in the mail or evite in an email. But I have been known, because I do tend to get very passionate about things that I believe in, things that have made a huge difference or impact in my own life. In the past, it's been like the greatest thing since sliced bread. And everybody's got to know about this. And I've been known to go share and, you know, overshare, over enthusiasm. I've actually been told, this is it's heartbreaking. I don't know if you can relate. I've actually been told, well, this is one of the things growing up. I was frequently told growing up, Sloan, you are too much. You are too loud. You need to quiet down. Okay. Like this is like king, king, king. I can't tell you my report cards in school. I was kind of always a B average student. My sister's brilliant. She's Harvard, Stanford, crazy intelligent, brilliant woman. My report cards in the comments for years, Sloan does, well in this and this and this, but she talks too much. So probably not a coincidence that I am a vocal coach. I found my way. I found something that I love to do, and I'm making a wonderful living at doing it. And I get to work with people that I love working with. So, I wish I'd known that as a kid. As a kid, if I had known, oh, I'm going to be a vocal coach when I grow up, that would have saved me so much. Uh, there were, times on the playground where I'm sticking someone is hurt and I'm running over to be helpful. Nobody invited me. Nobody asked for my help. Next thing I know, I'm getting a dodgeball in my face and there's blood dripping out of my nose. I mean, crazy. In the professional sector, having to go to human resources because I was too helpful. Called into human resources. Sloan, you're being too helpful. You need to mind your own business. Okay, people, hello. Um, I've been told that I'm too happy, that I'm just too much. And so what has helped me to understand that about myself is that if someone is having a rough time, a client, a family member, a friend, it is probably not going to be helpful for me to show up as my happy go lucky, everything is awesome Sloan, but rather to mirror and dial that down and get to a place where this person who might be suffering or having a rough time, I'm going to be much more effective and more helpful if I can get myself on their level. Doesn't mean I stop being who I am. It just means I have to tweak it in that moment. So do not shy away from your natural gifts and talents. It's who you are. And as you get to know yourself better, these things are really, really helpful. But in cases like a promotion or a special project that you are totally qualified, like you are the person for this new project coming out, get in there and go get it. Just go get it. It's your project. Okay, there's a few more. Number 6, dressing for success. Those of you who know me, I love my wardrobe stuff. I'm a clothes horse. But it is amazing how, and I know with all the Zoom and there's all kinds of memes out there where I do have I'm fully clothed in if you're watching on video, but I've heard all kinds of, crazy stories, lawyers going to court, with, in their shorts and their blazers. There is a difference. You energetically change your vibration. If you are dressed in sweats and a ponytail versus putting on a little makeup and some lipstick, if you're ladies or guys, whatever your thing is. So dressing for success, if you are going into an office, if you are seeing people in person and in live, I think last statistic I heard was we get 7 seconds to make an impression on anybody, whether in person, whether on live, whether on a video, whether on a FaceTime. That is not a lot of time, people. So if that's all you get to make an impression, go at it dressed your best. Just a couple more. Number 7, practice and prepare for whatever it is that you're going out for, trying out, auditioning, asking for the raise. In your relationships, if you are in relationships that you keep trying all of these different things and getting the same result and it is not satisfying, that is the definition of insanity. Ask me how I know. I've been there. I would say that the greatest relationship I'm in right now, the longest term relationship, wow, I think we've got 30 years coming up here, and it has not always been happy, smiley, fun. Any relationship that has been gone that long that tell you it's been amazing, they're lying. It's not true. I think that I am the one that has really, it's my perspective has changed. It's acceptance and forgiveness and letting people be who they are, right? But me being who I am without worrying about stepping on other people's toes or hurting anybody's feelings or riling the feathers, right? And so I would say, actually, it was the pandemic. Really, the pandemic saved my marriage. The pandemic did a lot of things, and my relationship with my spouse changed dramatically as a result of that. I was heading one direction and I did an about face and did a lot of work, a lot of deep work, a lot of shadow work, other than the regular therapies, the work I do with the voice, a lot of that, doing that for myself first was life-changing, has made an impact, and anything worth doing, I think, what is that old saying? Anything worth doing, I can't remember, worth fighting for, I don't know. It hasn't been easy, but it's definitely been worth it in the long term. So preparing and practice, I don't know how I got off on that tangent. Visualization, visualizing your success is another great key. It's another wonderful way to also get yourself into state before you're going to be using your voice. I have all kinds of silly exercises I'll be sharing in future episodes with you of how to get in state using your breath, using your voice, creating sound, using your body. It's a very powerful tool for building your confidence, visualizing yourself doing whatever it is that you're heading in to go do. And number 9, feedback. I already mentioned feedback is awesome. I've had some things happen in the last couple of years, investments that I've made that didn't quite bring the return that I was expecting. Very sad and scary, and what I ended up being able to do is changing my perspective and using the experience as feedback. So when things happen that feel like we have failed or it didn't go well or whatever the case, it's not failure. It's only failure if we quit. If we quit, then yeah, you're done. But if you use the feedback effectively and go back and look at what did work, if there was anything that worked, and things that didn't work or go as planned, it's just feedback telling us to try something different. So it can all be seen as a positive experience. Please don't see failure as a bad thing. It's a good thing. It gets us to the next level. It helps us to make different decisions. It moves us into action. It's when we get stuck and we don't do anything that we have failed. And then number 10, keep practicing. The key to building confident voice is to keep practicing. The more you speak, the more you present, the more confident you will become. You will improve your skills. You will command the respect and attention of your audience. And there's so much more to come from there. I'm trying to keep these right at the time limit we're at now. If you have found any value in this today, I would love it if you would, you know what to do. Hit that subscribe button. I'd love for you to share this with someone else that you care about, anyone who's struggling with their voice or could use a little inspiration around their voice. And then, of course, as I mentioned, you can always hit up the website. Those show notes will be in the show notes. Vocal Coaching by Sloan. There's a YouTube channel. But if you are a woman watching or listening, please head over to the Find Your Voice, Rock Your Confidence Facebook group. Go join that group, jump in there with the rest of the ladies. I am in there every Wednesday. I'm doing live specific for that group of ladies and just more wonderful, helpful content, things that you can apply. I've got some free gifts going on over in that group and some trainings that will be showing up here in the next couple of weeks. So thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.